All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. Got a double header for you today. We're going to be, first of all, doubling down on the Omen movie franchise matrix. We found so much already connecting Trump to Damien Thorne in the first film. And today we're going to cover the last film, Omen 3, and I found even more. And then at the end of the show, we're going to get into some headlines, some updates, or spin some new floods, Trump's imploding, and a couple other things we need to cover. So it's going to be a full show today. So thanks everybody for showing up on time. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, I want you to listen very closely because this is chilling. This is Omen 3. It's called The Final Conflict. And it literally released on Barron Trump's birthday, March 20th, 1981. Now, of course, he wasn't born yet. This was 25 years before he was born. And essentially, the film follows an adult Damian, who's 32 years old. And this is what we're going to cover today. Now, in real life, the character who plays Damian is now 77 years old. Let me click on him. It's Sam Neill. You guys will recognize Sam Neill because he is the star of the movie franchise Jurassic Park, which of course is all about reptilians and lizards and dinosaurs, right? He is now 77. So we've got ourselves a bit of a decode here, don't we? But wait until you see what I have to show you today. Now, in Omen 3, Damian inherits his father's fortune. He's moving up the political ladder to position himself as the Antichrist to oppose Christ's return. And the whole thing opens with a promotional video, a promotional commercial for Thorne Industries about a new age of prosperity, which of course is the exact speech that we got from Trump in his second term, the golden age of prosperity. Trust him and everything's going to be fine. And here again, we see this, and this is the opening sequence of the film. And of course, what are they talking about here? They're talking about an ice age. Let's take a look.
And wiped out all but the hardiest of nature's creations. One of these few was man. Phoenix-like, man arose from the frozen wilderness and set forth upon his dream.
Phoenix-like. Phoenix. The fire rising out of the ice. Remember we started doing the fire and ice thing, and everyone's like, you're crazy. You know, this stuff just keeps coming back full circle, doesn't it? The two eclipses, the fire and ice eclipses, the ice eclipse, which was on the winter solstice, which marked the beginning of the pandemic, the fire eclipse that happened in 2020, the following year, that happened on the summer solstice. Smile now, cry later. This has all happened before. Let's keep watching.
From that devastation dawned a new age.
Dawned a new age. Now, dawn is doublespeak for Donald Trump because his golden age is the dawn of a new age. And we've seen this repeated over and over again over the past several years. People's politicians speaking these words.
And a new hope. Amid all the pessimism, one voice rings out its faith in the future. Thorne, the world's leading light in building a new tomorrow.
The homes of tomorrow, the new tomorrow. Remember all this, you guys? Thorne Industries. There's the T. The two sides or two parts of the world. This is the T logo. Let's keep watching. Now, this is Damien Thorne. Again, he's 32 years old in the movie. And his love interest, his romantic interest, is a reporter. And I'm going to show this reporter to you, and you tell me who she looks like. You can't make this up. This film came out in 1981. Let's go back into the chat, and you guys tell me who this woman looks like. Unbelievable. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's wait for an answer here, and then we'll keep going. Now, there's even elements in this where they're defending Israel. Like, Damien defends Israel. They make up lies. There you go. So, this isn't me making this stuff up or stretching it. You guys all see it. It's all there. You guys are all seeing the same thing. Now, let's keep watching here as they defend Israel, even making up a lie as Damien is consulting with the president about a bombing of a dam.
How the hell do we know Israel's responsible? The Egyptian opposition party want us to endorse their condemnation of Israel for blowing up the Aswan Dam.
I don't have to point out to you that if we can prove it had nothing to do with Israel, we could be averting one mother of a major flare-up.
My guess is it's the work of the NLF.
Who?
Well, I'll have to check it myself, of course. I wouldn't want to feed the White House false information.
So, bingo. The Antichrist siding with the country that shall not be named. Now, let's take a look at this next scene, because at this point, Damien is gaining popularity. He goes on a TV interview with the reporter who he's developing a love interest with. And on the way, he's walking with his assistant. And his assistant sees a trans person. Now, remember, this was 1981. Not that this didn't exist back then, but look at how prominent this is now. Understand that Trump has hosted trans parties at Trump Tower. He also threw a bash for the Marriage Act at Mar-a-Lago. All this was covered by the Politico. You can look it up yourself. People on True Social were upset about this. But we just get crickets. There's no explanation from Trump as to why he's doing this. It goes directly against his base. And on one hand, he's throwing these parties for these people. And on the other hand, he's saying, we're going to get this out of schools. Well, did he really get it out of schools? He's threatening to defund schools, but has it really been erased from schools? Or is it just hype? Now watch this. This is chilling.
The man who's become a legend for his time, Damien.
It's not a woman, it's a guy.
Did you see that woman? It's not a woman, it's a guy. Now, I took out the profanity here.
Damien Thorne came to Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar.
They're all God's children, Harvey.
And Damien's response is, they're all God's children. Now, what Damien is really saying here, and later in the movie, he talks about his God, and that it isn't our God, the Most High. He sees Satan as the Most High. You see the problem here? So he's literally saying these are Satan's children. Unbelievable. Now at this point, we get more confirmation. As the reporter is basically doing an introduction before Damien takes the stage, and she literally says in 1971, he took over his uncle's business, Thorne Industries. Watch.
In 1971, he took over his uncle's business, Thorne Industries, and within 7 years has turned it into the world's largest multinational corporation.
So I'm like, wonder if when Trump took over his father's estate, and it was the same exact year, 1971. Then we hear Damien compared to JFK, which of course everybody knows that Trump is now being compared to JFK. Both were shot on the right side of their face Of course, JFK, his right side of his head. You can go look back and look at the diagrams. Trump, the right side of his ear. That was on purpose so that we would connect him to JFK in an assassination attempt. Trump even hired RFK Jr. That was to keep him connected to JFK. Trump started the Artemis program to mirror the Apollo program, which JFK commissioned. There's all these connections to JFK. Okay.
Nuclear armaments.
Now, apparently he got rich producing everything from nuclear armaments to soybeans. Keep watching.
Soybean food products. Highlighting a career that's already being compared to that of the late John F. Kennedy. After majoring at...
And then you'll think the way that we do.
Now, as they're talking about JFK in the introduction, an assassination attempt is made on Damian in the studio. Where's it made from? From above. Just like the assassin, the quote-unquote assassin at the roof, on the roof in Butler, Pennsylvania at the Trump rally. This guy's above, same thing, but he's in the catwalk.
And so you stand aside because...
Now, who is this guy trying to kill him? Well, these guys are priests. I think they're Catholic priests in the movie. And they've got these 7 daggers. And the 7 daggers were... It's inferred that they may have been the daggers that crucified Christ, maybe. Okay? Or the nails or something. Because it's got Christ on the handles. It's got the crucifix on the handles. And they have to use these daggers to try to kill the Antichrist before he can rise to power and oppose Jesus' second coming. So there's a bunch of these guys running around with these daggers trying to kill Damien. So this guy, he tries, and he's up in the catwalk.
Because it has no other choice, and we stand with our faith. No wonder it's mediocrity. Until finally they emerge from their brainwashing education as so-called fully sentient.
And of course, Damien has supernatural powers, and through accidents, things that seem like accidents, Damien takes out every single one of his opponents. The guy falls out of the catwalk, and he's lit on fire. Now, let's back up a little bit. Here's the assassin before he gets up into the catwalk. You're going to hear the reporter compare Damien to Alexander the Great, which Trump has been compared to by Israel. And I'll show you the news article on that. Let's take a look.
World out of the present doldrums of
Leading the world out of the doldrums of recession
into the golden era of
prosperity. Exactly Trump's words. The golden age.
Prosperity. Of course, that's how many people view you as a sort of 20th century Alexander.
20th century Alexander. Let's take a look at this article. Unbelievable. The Jerusalem Post, from Alexander the Great to Donald Trump. Alexander saved the Jews. President Trump is a savior of Israel. They're even making the joke here, Alexander the Great making America great again. Alexander the Great again. You can't make this up. Let's keep watching.
You've been watching too many of our commercials. But yes, it's true. I certainly have tremendous optimism in the future.
He has tremendous optimism for the future. Now, that is the very definition of a false prophet. Optimism for the future, because the Bible tells us the opposite, that judgment is coming in the last days. And this is why Christ has to return. Not optimism, judgment. And here's the problem with false doctrine, and I'm going to call this out. Because, they've mixed up and muddied the waters so that nobody is prepared for the Antichrist. They're saying, oh, this already happened. Why do you think that doctrine is floating around? So that you're unprepared. So that you don't see a person like Donald Trump as possibly being the Antichrist. So you don't care if There's a mark put on your hand or your forehead because you think, oh, that already happened. This must be something different. This is why it's important to have our doctrines generally right. Instead of listening to these things floating around that they're just labels put on people to shut you up and to get you not seeing the symbolism in what's happening here. Now let's keep going with this. This is crazy, you guys. I can't even believe this. It's getting pretty specific, isn't it? It's getting pretty specific.
And I want to see Thorne play a major part in achieving it.
I found this on the studio floor. That was an assassination attempt.
What?
So there were one of the daggers they found after the attempt. Okay. So there's 7 total daggers, and Damien takes every single one out. Now, remember when I told you about the time that Jesus did the exorcism and there were demons that came out of a man and he sent them into 2,000 pigs, which then went over a cliff. And this was right after the demon was mocking Jesus by saying that you cannot destroy us before the appointed time. So it was not yet the appointed time. The demon knew that. And remember I told you that we were fast approaching the 2,000-year anniversary of that miracle, of that exorcism, that it will happen between the years 2030 and 2036. So 36 AD, roughly, is when that particular miracle took place. We're now 2,000 years after that, or will be in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, in this movie, Jesus actually returns 2,000 years after he walked the earth. Watch this.
What?
Now, what they show here is it's a trifecta of stars merging together over the earth, and they call this the second coming of Christ.
There, gentlemen, are your 3 stars. The waiting of 2,000 years.
They call it the waiting of 2,000 years. So they already know that this is the appointed time. Exactly what we said. Wow.
Is at an end.
Now, this is Damien's helicopter. And of course, it has 88 on it. I looked up some of these tail numbers because there's a helicopter in this one. And then in Omen 2, which we'll be covering tomorrow, there is a jet with a tail number on it. And none of these exist. And that's not typical. Typically, what you'll see with these tail numbers on aircraft is you'll be able to look them up. And you'll literally can see who owns the aircraft. You can track the movements of these aircraft. And I don't know what happens when these aircraft go out of commission, but there should be a record, right? But there's no record. There's the 88. Remember, when you text Trump, it's 88022 to text Trump. Now, that could be a 6, I guess, but it's hard to see. It's blurry, but that's an 8 for sure. Let's take a look here. This is a better shot here. Yeah, those are 8s. That's 80. Well, that could be a B, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell, right? But it looks like 88. Let's keep going. Now, at this point, Damien goes after the firstborn because he knows that Jesus is coming back and he thinks that Jesus will be born a child. So he goes and kills all the firstborn, all the children, all the boys born on the date of March 24th. And so the reporter, who doesn't know that Damien is the Antichrist yet, she picks up on this. She's like, there's something wrong. All these boys are dying. Well, listen to this. You're going to hear the number 7 repeated over and over again. Watch.
At the turn of the century, the infant mortality rate stood at a staggering 34%. In 1945, it dropped
17 and 17 is 34. Let's keep watching.
to 16%. And nowadays it's been cut back to under 2%. That is, until last week. In Greater London, 17 babies have died in the last...
There's another 17. So we have a second 17. Now, what's the significance of 17? Well, keep watching. Because 17 is the 7th prime.
7 days.
She says 17 babies in 7 days. 17 is the 7th prime. Let's keep watching here.
With a further 14 deaths reported from Glasgow,
14 is 7 and 7.
Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, and Liverpool. But surely you admit there's been a totally unexplained increase in the deaths among baby boys over the last week.
Our statistics are based on annual averages and not on weekly fluctuations.
Now, based on all this evidence we've compiled to this point, this whole infant death thing seems to dovetail in with the plunging birth rates that have been happening over the last 5 years. This is why Trump has signed the baby bonds, $1,000 bond for babies, and he was talking about a baby bonus, like $5,000 bonus for any woman conceiving. Now, I don't know if that's part of his big, beautiful bill, but I wouldn't be caught within 100 miles of a baby bond with the MAGA magician mark on it, born out of the AGAM. AGAM is MAGA backward, dark swamp pool of water with a BBB 666 mark on it and $5,000. I would not be caught within 100 miles of that. But yet here we are. So the themes are common, aren't they? A stagnant birth rate in the form of infant mortality in this case. Now, as the reporters making these announcements, we hear from the damage controllers, right? Because they got to control the damage. And they come on and dismiss her statistics. Then they gaslight the messenger. And this is the madness of trying to convince people of the truth, right? There are always people that will talk you out of it. And if they are perceived to have more authority than you, or more popularity, or more credentials, then people write it off as coincidence. It's some kind of mind control. Even this decode today will be written off as coincidence to those with short attention spans, or a mind that is not open to see the truth that is right before their eyes. Just keep watching here.
Oh, a rise, indeed, yes, but nothing compared to the rise you'd expect to find during, say, a flu epidemic.
Surely, Dr. Fillmore, we're not talking about a flu epidemic. Drownings, car accidents, suffocation, food poisonings, electrocutions. We're talking about household burns.
Oh, forgive me if I speak bluntly, but your kind of scaremonger reporting is exactly the kind of behavior that brings the media into bad.
So there's the gaslighting, kill the messenger, fact check, all that stuff, which is what we're dealing with right now. The fake news meme, right? It's basically a way to just shut people up. And people believe it because they don't want to believe the truth. Now, next, you're going to hear more, you're going to see more confirmation of the 88 element to all this.
Scotland Yard has assured us that, in their opinion, there is no question of foul play in any of the mortalities reported.
Early this morning. She wants to see you.
Why didn't you tell me?
88's the octagons on either side of his head. 8 and 8. This is the portal through which Damian came. Time and space. Now, at this point, Damian possesses the reporter's son. He has this fascination with children. So he goes after the reporter's son, and he basically possesses him, and he tells him to follow the priest who's trying to track him down, who's trying to warn his mother. And the boy is following following the priest through the streets. Let's go take a look.
I want to talk to her.
So here's the priest, and you're going to see 666s everywhere because the numbers mean everything. First time you see it is on this license plate. 216. Well, how is that 666? Well, 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Keep watching. We see another 6 plus 6 plus 6 on the 18. So the priest is basically going around trying to warn everybody that Damien's taking out all of the firstborns on March 24th. And he goes to Damien's assistant's house, this guy, to try to warn this guy's wife, because his child was born on the same day. And he doesn't want to murder his own son, but Damien tells him to. So he goes home and he realizes that his wife has had a visit from the priest, and now she knows that her son's on the chopping block. Watch.
You don't know what you've done.
He's killed all these others that were born on the same day.
You believe some religious maniac?
No! I found the proof myself!
See how they gaslight you guys? Oh, you believe some religious maniac? That's probably what they say about me. But I'm not. But this is how they gaslight. And then you can't get people to see the truth. That literally all of these Omen movies were about Trump. There's too many overlays and synchronicities. This movie releasing on Barron's birthday. And as you'll see tomorrow, Damien goes to a military academy and he becomes the tip of the spear, just like Trump's military photo where he's the tip of the spear. Damien's 13 years old, just like Trump went into the military academy at 13 years old, and so many other things. Now, what does all that mean? I don't know. I don't know if it's Trump. I don't know if it's Barron. I don't know who it is. But the fact remains, just like they depicted Trump in Back to the Future, which everybody admits now, they could have depicted him in the Omen movies. Now, to what end? I don't know. I'm just showing you the evidence and the overlays. You have to decide. You have to pray to God and ask him what all this means. Now, at the end of the film seeks to, interestingly enough, correct the record about Jesus' return. That he comes as the King of Kings, not an infant. And this is where Damien makes his fatal error, because he's looking for a baby, when in actuality, Jesus comes back as the King of Kings, wiping every tear from their eye. These are literal shots from, look at this, they even showed like the chemtrail here. This was 1981, and then the chemtrail disappears. That's so creepy. And it's like hazy skies in the backdrop of the church. He will wipe every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, sorrow, crying, pain. Former things have passed away, of course. So crazy, right? Off the rails. Now, I saved the best for last. If you're still with me and you want to know the truth about all of this, I saved the best for last before we get into the headlines today. Good morning, everybody. Unreal. So, as we saw, the movie released on Barron's birthday, 25 years after the film released. So I was like, March 20th. There was nothing overtly alarming about that date, Barron's birthday. But I decided to try to figure out when Barron was conceived, right? Got to look at when he was conceived, when the sperm met the egg. So I did the calculation. And let's see, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. I did the calculation. I typed in his birthday to see when the sperm met the egg, March 20th, and you're not even gonna believe this. Barron was conceived 88 days after the 88th day of the year, June 25th. And interestingly, the date that Barron was conceived is also the day that his grandfather died in 1999, which of course is 666 upside down. Let that sink in for a minute. Barron was conceived 88 days after the 88th day of the year on June 25th, the same day that his grandfather died in 1999, which is 666 upside down. So I'm like, I need to go take another look at the actor who plays Damien to see if he connects to Barron Trump. And sure enough, he does. His birthday, the actor, Sam Neill, is 6 months and 6 days away from Barron's birthday. 6 months and 6 days. There's a 66. Now, tomorrow, the actor that plays Damian in Omen 2 was born on the 66th day of the year, which I'll show you tomorrow. Wow. Unbelievable. So we'll be tackling Omen 2 tomorrow. And I know I skipped around a little bit with these movies, but I started with Omen 1 and then I jumped to Omen 3. Now we're going to go back to Omen 2. And you're going to see tomorrow, literally, Damien is in the academy at age 13, the military academy, same age Trump did, and he becomes the tip of the spear just like Trump did. I was utterly stunned when I found this information. Let's tackle some of these headlines before we end the show today. Unbelievable. Now, Trump seems to be losing it. There's something going on. Something has changed or shifted. Maybe the pressure of realizing that many, many people are upset. The only thing that is really getting done right now is that our federal government is being converted to artificial intelligence. Jobs are being lost across the industry. Unemployment rates are probably through the roof because everything is getting replaced with AI as the tech billionaires have taken over. They're not covering it, but by definition, AI steals jobs. Sorry, that's just what happens. They should have never let this happen. The only other thing Trump is doing too is he basically raised all of our taxes with these tariffs. All of this is trickling down. The cost of goods is going through the roof. He says that we should trust him and this will all equalize later. There's a lot going on, you guys. Let's get into these headlines. As Trump is now gaslighting his base. He can't help himself. He blames Joe Biden. I know this is a CNN article, but look at this. He literally says this is Biden's fault. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt on Monday drew a hard line against quickly blaming the government in the midst of the tragedy, in this case, the deadly floods in Texas. Many Democrat elected officials are trying to turn this into a political game, and it's not, Leavitt said. Amid suggestions linking the tragedy to Trump's cuts to the National Weather Service, she said, I just do think those comments are depraved and despicable, especially when so many Americans are mourning the loss of their children. Less than 24 hours before Leavitt's comments, though, it was her boss, Trump, who was levying the blame, not on the incumbent government, but the previous one. If you look at if you look at that water situation, that was really Biden's setup, Trump said. Trump quickly clarified that he wasn't actually blaming Biden. He cited the historic nature of the floods, but there is no question he was attempting to shift potential responsibility for any government missteps to his predecessor. So those are the words. Ignore the source. We're looking at his words, right? Now, New Mexico, within the last 12 hours, just joined the flood. 3 dead so far, probably many more missing as flash floods now attack New Mexico. Mountain town, here we go again, unincorporated areas where people are trying to homestead and get out of the beast. Now, of course, all presidents wage weather warfare. Biden had his share of it, Obama before him. It's a bipartisan agenda. How do we know? Well, anytime a president on either side of the aisle pushes a smart city or a freedom city, instead of offering homesteading tax credits, that would be a start, right? To anyone who, goes and wants to homestead somewhere, they should pay less taxes. Why? Because they're doing the economy a service by having a smaller footprint, by developing land, by living off the grid and using less electricity, less of everything, right? But they don't want that. They don't want you outside of the grid because the grid is how they control us. And so what do? They wage weather warfare on places where they don't want people living. But Trump has to keep the division going, even though he knows what's going on. He has to keep the division going by blaming Biden every time that he's cornered. Yet he won't call out the deep state, who was really the ones running the country under Biden. He just keeps saying Biden, Biden. Well, who was actually running the country? Trump? It wasn't Biden. You need to start arresting and calling out the people who are actually running the country. We all know it wasn't Biden. Guy can't even tie his shoes. But yet Trump won't call out the deep state. Now, I say Trump is losing it because this isn't the only thing that's going on. He's literally gaslighting his entire base. They tried to call him out about Epstein, and he literally tried to embarrass them by telling them to stop bringing it up. Let's watch the video.
Yesterday in Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the staff?
Yeah, sure.
If could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas.
So he just showed his hand, didn't he? He showed his hand. What better way to get us off of Epstein than natural, quote, natural disasters? Are you seeing this for what it is? I hope you are. What better way to get us to move on than more chaos?
It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also to the tens of...
So, my computer just froze. Hopefully we're still live. This always happens, you guys. So here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem. Now you're noticing a trend. These people are literally... the whole browser froze. Let's see if we can fix this. Literally, these people are just backtracking. So what did we had? We had the other lady say, oh, Iran isn't pursuing a nuclear program. But then as soon as Trump says that they are, all of a sudden she changes her mind. Same with Pam Bondi. Oh, we have the files. They're going to be released. And now all of a sudden they're not. So it's hard for us to know the truth, right? Unbelievable. Okay, so I think my browser is frozen. Oh boy. Let's see if we can get this to fix here. I don't even know if you guys are with me. Let's try this. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh boy, that was crazy. The whole browser froze. Did that before, didn't it? During an important thing that we were covering. Now let's keep going. Because Trump has also reneged on another promise that he made. And that is Ukraine, of course. Of course, never forget. We already knew that these people were going to lie. But for some reason, every 4 years, we go back and vote for more liars. They lie. Oh, well, Casey, we still have the best country in the world. No, that's just mind control. Now, we know that Trump never completely stopped sending aid to Ukraine. They say that he halted some shipments, but how do we confirm that, right? Could have been a shipment of whatever. Could have been styrofoam cups, right? And then technically, they'd be telling us the truth. Halted some shipments. Now he's sending more. Now remember, never forget, the war was supposed to be over 24 hours on its first day. He also promised no more aid to Ukraine. Right? Because this is what he was elected on. And all we got was more of the same from Trump. Casey's going after the illegals. That's good. The only reason why they're going after the illegals is to practice their track and trace and biometric surveillance system on Americans to militarize America, which is happening right now. Trump just opened up the floodgates for military equipment to go to police departments. He shored up the police departments by giving them pro bono attorneys. We've now got American troops on the border. We have military drones in our skies now. We've got facial recognition. And if you think that they just turn the cameras off when they see an American, then I don't even know how to help you at this point. Then we deserve what's coming. If we really think that they just turn the camera off when they're surveilling illegals, when they see an American, then we deserve what's coming. So more weapons going to Ukraine. This thing isn't over. I wouldn't be shocked if it lasted all the way through Trump's presidency. More money, more American tax dollars. Now, Elon Musk is imploding too. Unbelievable. Look at this. Trump is daring MAGA to oppose him right now. So what's going on with Elon Musk? And what is this all about? What's happening here? This is chaos magic. This is meant to confuse and confound. It's the shock and awe of politics. Broken promises, rants, cursing, fake battles, drama, everything goes. Like we're at a WWE match. So I expect something huge is going to happen because there's a lot of chaos in the air, isn't there? This is like a child throwing their toy across the room before a huge tantrum. Apparently, let's get into Elon Musk. Musk is literally speaking through Grok, the AI. He is literally answering questions, and he got busted. Now, we always knew that AI was essentially the Wizard of Oz, that anything can speak through the AI. The devil at the top is literally speaking through the AI. And I got so frustrated with people that bought the predictive programming and just believed that AI is neither good or bad. It's just how it's used. No. It was created as a Wizard of Oz so that there was the illusion that it was neutral, but behind it was the wizard back there pulling all the strings and pushing the buttons. It's a pretend robot. Now, this is hilarious. The Grok actually, which was really Elon Musk talking out of it, literally tried to defend Elon Musk against his associations with Epstein. Let's read this in Roboto voice. Look at him. So obviously, you gotta wonder if Trump didn't have something to do with this, but the whole fight between them is fake anyway. But they gotta get everybody hyped up. They've got to create another paradigm. Musk versus Trump. So they play with each other. It's a wrestling match. Elon Musk and his chatbot Grok have merged into a single entity. Musk is also innocent of any crimes you may accuse him of. On Sunday, the X-integrated AI chatbot went on another one of his classic bizarre rants in which it assures us, while speaking in the first person, as if it had somehow become the Tesla CEO, that Musk totally doesn't have deeper ties with Jeffrey Epstein and only visited the notorious trafficker one time at his house. So a user on X asked, is there evidence of Elon Musk having interacted with Jeffrey Epstein? Yes, limited evidence exists. I visited Epstein's New York City home once briefly, less than 30 minutes with my ex-wife in the early 2010s. Out of curiosity, saw nothing inappropriate and declined island invites, Grok said in an now deleted post. So then the post got deleted. Unbelievable. Anyway, I thought you guys would get a laugh out of that. So now we have more chaos. Everybody was associated with Epstein. That's the big joke. So when Elon Musk came out and said that Trump was in the Epstein files, it's a big nothing sandwich because they're all in the files. They're all in the files. Now, tomorrow, these are Trump's military photos. The military academy he attended beginning at the age of 13. He was at the tip of the spear. This is an image from the movie Omen 2. And this is Damian, also at the tip of the spear as he's awarded this sword, the top cadet. You guys, it's a joke at this point. And those that don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. You can call it Trump derangement syndrome, but I think the true derangement is the people that refuse to see these connections. Who will die on the hill, as they say, of the Trump cult. Literally, when they're shown all of this predictive programming before Trump was anybody in 1981. It's as if the entire world knew, all the controllers knew what was coming. And then here we go. So I'm back in the chat. What are your guys' thoughts on all this? The mind control is thick, isn't it? I can't wait to show you that tomorrow. And this actor here, again, Damian was born on the eve of the 66th day in the year in real life. We'll cover all that. And of course, all the 66 is connected to Trump. This is just shocking. Can't even believe it. Yeah, it's a joke now. The joke is that you show this to people and they literally, their response is, oh, you're a Democrat. You have Trump derangement. Let's focus on the content. Okay, not your personal feelings. Let's focus on the content of what I'm showing you. Let's debate the content. Now, if you're going to try to say all this is coincidence, then I can stack up all the coincidences for you in one page if your attention span is too short to make it through a decode. We are now on the third Omen film, and each of the films points to Trump. The year that he got his father's business, 1971. All the birthdays, Barron's birthday, military academy, tip of the spear. It just keeps going, you guys. I'll put together the 3 Omen decodes in a playlist. There's 3 decodes we've done so far for those that need to see it all together. But I can't even believe it. Okay, I'm back in the chat. Okay. Elon's one we should be worried about, says Jen. I agree. All these tech billionaires that Trump brought into the White House should be the ones we're worried about. What were there, 13 of them? Palantir, I believe, is probably a bigger threat since Trump just allowed them to start Project Gotham to spy on your credit card purchases, your cell phones, and everything private in your life to use an algorithm that determines if you are likely to commit a crime. To me, that's the biggest threat right now with all these drones flying overhead, picking up all of our information. I think Elon Musk is more of a distraction than anything. He's a player. He's like one of the dopey WWE wrestlers that never won a title. But they got to stack the opposition, right? They got to make it look like there's all this opposition. So he was like Leaping Lenny Popoff. Let's call him that. He's Leaping Lenny. He had like a gimmick. Because remember, Leaping Lenny Pop, this was WWF. This is before most of your time. I'm 52, so I remember Leaping Lenny Popoff. He was like a nobody, right? But they had to have an opposition. They had to have wrestlers to fight the other wrestlers to make it all look real. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, he's got the richest man title. Oh, okay. So who is that? Who is the WWF wrestler had all the money? Remember he come out with all this money? Let's look it up so we can laugh. WWF wrestler who was rich. Cash. He had like a bunch of cash. Oh, wait. Ted DiBiase. Remember him? The $1 Million Man. Ted DiBiase. Oh gosh, let's take a look. Ted DiBiase. Come out. Remember this? For those of you that remember. Remember Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling? Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. My gosh. Ted DiBiase. Wow. Anyway, before the WWE, there was WWF. The Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, he came a little bit later. $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I'm like the announcer now. What else? I'm bringing back some memories, aren't I? Remember Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling? Oh my gosh. I was like, are you kidding me? You can't show that on TV. I would we had the old VHS tape recorders and I would record it. My mom goes, what are you watching? Almost just wrestling, Mom. No, it's not just wrestling. Oh gosh. We gotta have a little fun, right? Andre the Giant. Anyway. Yeah, Jesse the Body Ventura. Ric Flair. Oh my gosh, some of you younger people out there are going, what are you guys talking about? We're not that old. 52 is not old. Yeah, Cannons remembers. My goodness. The stuff they used to put on TV, you guys, because they couldn't catch everything, right? So, I mean, you know, what is it called? FEC or whatever. But there was some crazy stuff they put on TV back in the day. Yeah, Lori says you had to be there. It was trippy. And then remember, Lori, like a bunch of our friends were like, that's real. It's real. Wrestling is real. Like, I mean, they got away with convincing us that it was real all the way up into high school. I had some friends in high school that thought it was real. I'm like, that's not real. Buying control. And this is our political system now. It's the same thing. Who else? Let's see who else. I'll do some announcements here. Okay, I'll watch the Von Erichs. Let's see what other wrestlers. Gorgeous George. I don't remember that one. Roller Derby was like a knockoff of Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Yeah, so that was like the same thing. I mean, it was borderline soft corn is what it was. And as a child, you're confused. You're like, what is this? You're going, what is happening here? This is on TV? Oh my gosh. The Undertaker. Yeah, he came later. Yeah, Hulk Hogan. What are you gonna do when the wait, what was it? What are you gonna do when the Macho, and there's Macho Man Randy Savage. Hulkamania running wild. Andre the Giant. Claw, Baron Von Rushke. I don't remember that one. Shawn Michaels, the Mod Squad. Macho Man. Yeah. Now, there's a whole... Now, if you want to go down a rabbit hole today, if you're into this stuff, there are entire channels on YouTube, truth channels, and I don't know their names, that look into this old wrestling lore. Some of these interviews where Hulk Hogan's talking about Twin Towers and bringing down the Twin Towers, you guys, it is a deep rabbit hole. Now, I have not gone down the rabbit hole. I've just seen bits and pieces of this stuff, but they were literally programming things in even wrestling. Undeniable predictive programming of the Twin Towers falling down and stuff like that. So, yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake the Snake. Oh my gosh. The Four Horsemen was a group. Yeah, I believe you're right. Bam Bam Bigelow. Yep. Oh man. Yeah, it was for idiots, but back then everybody was an idiot. I mean, my mom was into this stuff. I mean, everybody, you guys, they used to fill up entire arenas with just regular people who came to watch this stuff. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The Junkyard Dog. Yep. Anyway. All right, you guys. I love each and every one of you. It's great. We got to have a little bit of fun at the end of the show today. I'm going to let you go. It's been a kind of a long show. But tomorrow we'll be back with Omen 2. Have a great rest of your day, you guys. Much love.